This video is for basic facial. And so we're gonna start the video as if I've just arrived to work. So the first thing that I do upon arrival is I always wash my hands. So I go to the sink, I wet my hands. I find a coin size amount of liquid hand soap. I wash my hands down to my wrists. I wash the back of my hands down to my wrist. I wash my fingers, and of course I wash the back of my fingers. Fingertips and nails, I wash between my fingers. I wash between my fingers and my thumbs. I wash my thumbs. I wash my wrists. I do all of that interlocking wash for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. And then I rinse everything underneath the sink thoroughly. Grab some disposable paper towels or clean towel to turn off the faucet, dry everything. If it's paper towels, it's going in the trash. If it's a clean towel, it goes in a closed container until time to do laundry. Then we find our 70% ethyl alcohol hand sanitizer, and we sanitize our hands. And what we need to do now is get our room ready for our client that's coming for a basic facial. So let's talk about how we prepare for that. And we also want to make sure that we're doing as much as we can before our client arrives, because we're very mindful of their appointment time, their service time that is needed to perform the best service, and then our schedule for the day and their schedule for the day. So we'd like to be on time. We'd like to maintain that and be respectful of our client and their time as well. So we're going to do everything we possibly can before it's their time to arrive. So we're going to disinfect our workstation, bed, and equipment using a disinfectant wipe following manufacturer's instructions. We'll check equipment to ensure that all devices are in safe working order and plugged into a working receptacle. We will gather clean supplies needed for the facial service, storing in a clean closed container. We will turn on the hot cabbie and stock it with at least 3 clean wet towels. More may be needed depending on the service and the client's needs. We will fill clean steamer glass with distilled water and preheat the steamer. Then we'll dispense products needed for the service according to skin type and client's needs as follows. We will prepare disposable portion cup tray for each product with a portion of the product by opening the top of the container and ensuring the tip of the nozzle does not come into contact with the disposable portion cup tray. Or we can remove the product with a disinfected or clean single-use spatula, close the lid to the product, and set the portion cup tray on the tray. Then we need to drape the facial bed using 1 fitted sheet, 1 flat sheet, and 3 towels. Place clean laundered sheets down on the disinfected facial bed. Placing a towel horizontally at the head of the bed, lay a hairnet and headband on top of the first towel along with a rolled towel to support the head and neck of the client. Save the 3rd towel to lay across the client's décolleté. So we're going to do all of those things, and we've done all of those things ahead of time. So I just want to show you my tray so that you can see what has been pre-prepared for the client. So what we have is, of course, water and makeup remover. We have astringent, cotton rounds for 4 squares. We've got a brush for our mask step. We've got those disposable spatulas that we will use and discard, toner, wooden sticked Q-tips, and disposable gloves for extraction, lip balm for the finish. We have cleanser, exfoliant, massage, mask, eye cream, moisturizer. Of course, I said toner, so we've got everything we need there. For our client, because we know our client, we know the skin type, and we know the service that we're performing today. But even if we didn't, we could do a lot of that pre-prep stuff and have it ready, and then just have to do those final things when they get there after we have that client consultation and you figure out details or specifics. So let's review the next step, and that would be client consultation, which is really important. I will always be greeting my client with clean hands, just so you know. I will be cleaning them again before we start the facial, but I'm just noting that I am going to be doing a client consultation, walking to meet my client with nice, clean hands. So when we do that, we would greet the client and escort them to our work area, and then we're going to determine the client's preferences and assess the client's needs. We'll assess the client's skin by performing a skin analysis to ensure that there is no inflamed, infected, broken, raised, or swollen skin in the area to be worked on, or an open wound or sore in the area to be worked on, infection or infestation, for example, lice, to prevent from safely performing the service. We'll assess the client's consultation form for any medications and products used within the last 72 hours and consult on any known allergies. We'll consult with the client on any facial surgeries within the last 3 months and if the client's under a physician's care. We'll assess if the client is prone to cold sores or fever blisters. We will assess if the client has used exfoliating or lightening agents within the last 72 hours, like alpha hydroxy acids, beta hydroxy acids, hydroquinone, etc. We will assess facial injections within the last 3 weeks, like Botox or hyaluronic fillers. And if the client is free from any of those contraindications, we can move forward with the service. So just noting that all of that is being said for a very specific reason, which is why we have a very detailed client consultation form. All of those things can affect not only product choice, but service choice, whether or not it can be done at all. So you would never want to hurt your client or your client's skin in any way. So it's important that you really take the time to talk. And if you have any questions at all, do your research. Ask the client to communicate with you and ask deeper questions more than yes and no answers. So you can really figure out what is possible and what will or will not be able to be done. So what we're going to do now is get the client comfortable, and then I will wash my hands and get ready to begin the service. So my client, of course, would be given privacy so that she can change into her drape in the facial room, so the closed door, etc. And then she can herself put herself in the bed under the sheets and the blanket. And at that point, you can then come in and knock on the door with permission and then come in and get her more comfortable. So she's in that bed. I'm going to get this rolled towel and place it up underneath her neck for a little bit more support and comfort. I've got her hairnet here that I'm going to place to keep her hair out of the way, out of her face. And then I've got an additional towel here that I'm going to place on her décolleté to just a little additional coverage and don't want to get the sheets or the blanket or anything wet or her wet. So we are ready to go because she is cozy. So at this point, what needs to happen is I need to wash my hands. So I would go to the sink and wet my hands, get that coin-sized liquid hand soap, wash my hands down to the wrist, wash the back of my hands down to the wrist, wash my fingers, and then wash the backs of my fingers. I would wash fingertips and nails. I would wash between fingers and thumbs, wash thumbs, of course, wash wrists, and do all of that for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. And then you give it under the water and you really do that good proper rinse off. When you feel like everything's thoroughly rinsed, you'll grab some disposable paper towels or a clean towel to turn the faucet off. Dry your hands completely. Paper towels go in the trash. The dirty towel now goes in in a closed container until it's time for laundry. And then to finish your hand wash, you have to get your hand sanitizer, 70% ethyl alcohol, and you are going to sanitize up those hands. Really important. And then we are ready to begin. So the very first step for your facial is to remove any makeup. And some will wear more, some will wear less, some will wear none. So just take a time, excuse me, take the time to remove the makeup. And really, once again, you just take the time to do what you need to do to feel like she's ready for the next step. And then I'm going to dry her off. Before I do the first cleanse, just getting any of that excess. So now I'm going to do that initial cleansing of the face. Trying to remove any makeup, etc., that she may have on, moisturizer, sunscreen, SPF, so you can really get to look at her skin with nothing on it. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to remove that initial cleanse. And now what you're going to do is perform a skin analysis. So with the magnifying lamp or Woods lamp. So we're going to take some cotton rounds here and we're going to cover her eyes because it's a very bright light. So we're going to bring the lamp over. I don't have one. We're going to pretend and we're going to turn it on. And this is where you really want to take a minute or two because maybe she or he has given you a directive of areas that they want to work on or whatever with their skin during the client consultation. But every time you see them, or even if it's the first time, you really want to get in there and see what's going on. So maybe you're looking for fine lines and wrinkles. Maybe you're looking for hyperpigmentation. Maybe you're looking for flakiness, dehydration. Maybe you're looking for excess sebum. Maybe you're looking for, acne for what you're going to extract. There's so many things that you need to be focused on and looking for The other thing is, you know what your service is for today. So you're going to look at how you can maybe target specific or be concerned about an area or looking for any open or broken skin. Or now you get in there and you get to get really, really detailed. But you're also thinking ahead to follow up services and also potentially products that would support everything that you do in service at home, making sure that she has what her skin would need to achieve her skin goals or your skin goals together, because she's definitely here for a reason. So that's important. The other thing is, because you are her skin expert, you want to make notations of everything about her skin. So if she has a mole somewhere, a freckle somewhere, or there's an area of concern, or you're just really trying to strengthen that skin, you got to start somewhere, and you want to make notations, whether it's on your client, if you have a form, or you do like a card file, or if you have a software system. You've got to make those notes and efforts every single time that your client comes in, because if you see any changes in the positive or negative, you need to be able to relay those to her. She can also maybe call you with questions, or maybe if something happens or she has some kind of a reaction, you're going to know exactly what was going on with each part of her face and neck. And if you're doing décolleté, you're going to have all of that written down, plus you can talk about it with her. And the other thing too is that if she has an area that changes, or a mole or something that doesn't look quite right to you, you may be able to then recommend her next step to see a physician or something, that maybe you notice it under the magnifying lamp or the Woods lamp way before she would. So it's just trying to be extra professional and careful, and this is where you take the time to do that proper skin analysis. So we've got it done. We're going to turn the light off and take it out of the way so you can remove these cotton rounds, and then you can go in for second cleanse. So if there's anything that you saw under there, you're like, oh, I got to go back in there and get that. Like, I still see makeup, I still see this or that. This is where you're going to get in there and really give it a proper cleaning too. And then after you've removed that second cleanse, you're going to go in for the third and final cleanse. So if there's anything left after this, too bad. There shouldn't be after 3 cleanses. It's a lot of cleansing. Lots and lots and lots and lots of cleansing, but that's okay because you are taking great care of your client. And then you need to remove that third cleanse. And then after that, you're going to tone. I'm just going to get a couple more little things for toner. So I've got a couple little guys here, and then I'm going to make sure that my spritzer doesn't actually come into contact. And then I'm going to tone. And once you're finished toning, you will then go to the exfoliation step. So I'm going to take about a pea-size amount, but I'm going to spread it out around my client's face and neck because this is going to get massaged in first. Of course, you're going to follow manufacturer's directions, and it's all based on type of exfoliation, physical versus chemical. So I'm going to massage this in for 1 to 2 minutes because it's a physical. So I just spread it around so that I could do that easily. And of course, like with all things, we are going to avoid the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And once you've got that exfoliate massaged in, I'm going to review with you what the next steps are that you would be doing. Because I don't have the equipment, so I'm going to read through with you but show you what to do. So you would retrieve the steamer and turn the steamer on. Remember, we preheated the steamer in our setup with distilled water that we put in, etc. Position the steamer next to the facial bed, making sure that it is facing away from the client as the water heats up and emits an even outflow of a mist. Once the steamer is emitting a mist, you can position the steamer 16 inches over the client's face and aimed at the client's chin for even distribution on the face, allowing the unit to function for 3 to 5 minutes. Remove the steamer from the client's face, return the steamer to its previous location for disinfection. So you would bring that steamer up to your facial bed, make sure that it's aimed away from your client when you turn it on so that it has the time to warm up and then get that steam coming out. And when the steam is coming out, you can turn that part toward the client's chin 16 inches away, and then you can let that steam just cascade over the face. And you're going to do that for 3 to 5 minutes. Obviously, we don't have the equipment. We're also doing a video, so we're not going to time it that way, but we're just going to pretend as if 3 to 5 minutes has passed. We're going to turn the steam away from the client, and then we're going to put the steamer back in its original place, turning off the steamer, and then we'll get to it later. But it's not in your way, it's not in the client's way, and you can move forward. So that 5 minutes is up. We've done all of that, and then I also don't have a hot cabbie, so I'm going to be taking my towel over here. We're going to pretend like I'm getting it out of the hot cabbie. And then what I would do, of course, would be shaking it out to check that temperature and then checking the temperature on my wrist. And it feels good. And then it's not too hot right now. I gave it a little break. Then I take that temperature on the client's collarbone. And she also says, oh, yes, that feels great. Then I make my pretty little fold and then I drape it over the client's face. And I'm going to leave the nose out, but I'll cover up like the mouth and the eyes. So we want her to be able to breathe. And you will do a gentle little press, because this is how you're going to take off the exfoliant, remove the exfoliant. But also note that if you didn't have the facial steamer like I don't, you could fill up your hot cabbie with nice wet towels, get them nice and hot, and then you would just, for that 3 to 5 minutes, you would be replacing, every time a towel cooled down, you'd get a new one out, and just do it with towels instead of steam with towels instead of the steamer. So that same concept. And oops, and then I'm just going to remove the exfoliant, of course. And just fix her hairnet. And then you need to get your hands nice and dry, because after you exfoliate, you're going to do your extractions, and so you're going to need to wear gloves always for that step. Make sure that your hands are dry, because if they're not, it's very hard to put disposable gloves on. And then you can exfoliate, you can extract in a couple ways. So you could get 2 cotton rounds soaked in astringent on your fingers, and then, extract that way, kind of work your way around and then toss it. So as you work away through extractions, like work around the circle. I'm going to use wooden stick Q-tip soaked in astringent, and that means for every extraction, you toss it and you get another pair. So luckily, my client doesn't have a ton of extractions that are needed. Just around the chin area, because of Mask City, she's getting a little congestion there. So there's a little bit of buildup there. So I'm just going to get a new set every time. And one more. You also have the option to bring that magnifying lamp over if you needed to look through that. You would cover your client's eyes, turn it on, and then that's probably your most best way to do it, so that you can actually see where you're trying to extract, especially if the light is nice and dim. So I've thrown all those away. I'm now able to throw away my gloves, disposable gloves, and then we will be toning again. So you're gonna exfoliate, extract, and tone. And you do not want to do that extraction step for more than 5 to 7 minutes, because it can be somewhat painful for certain clients, especially that are struggling with that, like bad acne or a lot of pustules. So make sure that you're gentle and that you move quickly and get it over with quickly, because it can be painful. So good news is, after all of that extraction, we get to do her massage. So she can have some relaxing time after that uncomfortable time. The only thing to note really about the massage step is that you do want to make sure that you get enough of your massage product on your hands before you go to the client, because you really want to make sure you don't have to double dip or go, I mean, not double dip, sorry, go back, stop, take your hands away from your client, go back, and have to then get more massage product out, go back to the face, go back to the neck, wherever it is, because you don't want your hands to come away from the client once you start that massage process. So all I'm doing now is just spreading out my massage product, making sure that I have enough before I start the massage. That way, it will be an uninterrupted time for her to have some relaxed time and maybe even fall asleep. You never know. And now you would remove that massage product. And now I'm going to apply the mask, and I'm going to use the brush to apply it. Of course, like everything else, we avoid the eyes, the nose, the mouth. Be mindful of that, of course, always following manufacturer's instructions. And I am going to let this mask, if it was really happening, it would be, we'd follow the instructions, but it would stay on for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. But because we're doing a video, obviously we will not be doing that. We'll pretend like that time has elapsed. And so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that mask product now, assuming that it has been on for 5 to 10 minutes. And then once you remove the mask product, you're going to tone. One final time. And then we're going to apply her skincare. So we're going to give her a little bit of eye cream. I'm going to apply a tiny bit on my ring fingers, rub them together, and then I'll do a light tap around the brow bone and the zygomatic arch. So we're giving her a little bit of eye cream, of course, and then I'm going to apply her moisturizer with sunscreen because the sun's still out. And it's very important, which she knows how important it is. We've discussed it. And so we're just taking a little bit and we're going to apply it everywhere. Making sure that she's nice and hydrated and she's got her sunscreen on because that way she's safe. And we talked about the importance of sunscreen. And one final thing, I'm going to give her a little bit of a lip hydrator and we'll be ready to be done. And we will finish that facial out. And you'll give her some privacy so that she can get dressed. And then she'll come meet you in the client waiting area so that you can review maintenance and aftercare. You're going to get her booked for her next service, and you're going to get her going home, not only with her little aftercare kit, but also any products that she needs. Once she's checked out, you're going to go back and prepare your room for your next client. It's a different service, so you got to completely clean up, which you would anyway. If you've got any single-use items, you're going to go ahead and discard those single-use items. Then you're going to place dirty implements in a closed container that's labeled to be disinfected. You're going to take all your sheets, your linens, your bedding, towels, all that. You're going to put them in a closed container that is for laundry later. And then you're going to identify a proper cleaning agent, read manufacturer's directions, follow manufacturer's directions for mixing and usage. You're going to wipe down your workstation and area with cleaning solution to remove debris. You're going to identify disinfectant that is bactericidal, virucidal, fungicidal, EPA approved for use in a salon setting, which means you're going to need to get another pair of disposable gloves because you're going to have to put them on now. Follow manufacturer's directions for mixing and or using appropriate aerosol disinfectant. You will disinfect electrical equipment, store it in a clean area separate from other implements. And you can take your gloves off at that point, trash them, and it's time to wash your hands one final time. So you're going to wet your hands at the sink, coin size liquid hand soap, wash your hands together down to the wrists, wash the back of your hands down to the wrists, wash your fingers, and you're going to wash the backs of your fingers. You're going to wash your fingertips and your nails. You're going to wash between your fingers and your thumb. You're going to wash your thumb, and you're going to wash your wrist. And you're going to do all of that for a minimum of 20 to 30 seconds. And when you have finished that, you can do a good proper rinse underneath the water. Grab a disposable paper towel or clean towel to turn the faucet off. Dry your hands off. If it's paper towels, they go in the trash. If it's now a dirty towel, it's going to go in that closed container with the other dirty laundry until you do the laundry. And then you will grab your 70% ethyl alcohol hand sanitizer to sanitize and finish up your service. And so that concludes your basic facial video.